Welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. This is Aftermath of Dynamite weekly recap in 10 to 15 minutes. This week we have Dynamite kicking off from last night, May 1st. It was an interesting show, to say the least. It started off with Tony Khan in the Jacksonville Jaguars war room, still wearing his neck brace, keeping kayfabe. And oh, you can see I can type. Show obviously is spelled SHOW, not SHPW in the banner there. Needless to say, Tony Khan says he is here from Jacksonville. He isn't cleared to travel, and the Bucks cut the thread, or cut the feed, I guess, and say that since Tony isn't here, they're the EVPs. They're in charge. They talk some shit to Tony Khan. They ask him if we're supposed to cheer for him. Um, and they blast him for falling for Jack Perry's nonsense last week. This is an okay segment. I love the EVPs this way. I'm not sold on Jack Perry as part of the elite. We'll see how it all plays out. But I like Tony Khan staying in kayfabe. I think it works well. Him still in the neck brace. I like the stuff with the EVPs, and they're in charge for a while. I assume this is going to be the way it's going to be for a little bit. So I'm kind of here for it, and we'll see what happens. Then we get Swerve in the ring, our AEW World Champion, and he comes out and talks about how what the Bucks did to Tony Khan was a bitch move. And he talks about how he doesn't like what's going on with the company lately, and that they deserve better, um, and that he needs a challenger for Double or Nothing. This is definitely your heel promo. Your heel promo, your face promo. I apologize. And it is what it is. Not great. The EVP's cut in, and on the Contron, as they've been calling it, and tell him that his number one contender is the returning patriarch himself, Christian Cage. So in comes the patriarchy. We got Christian Cage, we got Mama Wayne, we got Baby Wayne, and we've got Killshot, or Nick Wayne, Baby Wayne, whatever you want to call him. And they come down to the ring. Christian gets in the ring. The end up having a brawl ultimately with Swerve, and they beat Swerve down. I'm sorry. Christian hits the kill shot on the title, leaving Swerve kind of in the middle of the ring. Nick Wayne attacks him. Everybody attacks him. Nobody comes down to help him, which I thought was kind of interesting. I mentioned in another chat that, in a chat room on another podcast, that I thought that it was odd to show Swerve as vulnerable. They said, well, you have to, and it's a face. You got to show the face vulnerable so he has odds to recover. I get that. I guess it just seems weird that he, other than Nana, he doesn't have any friends, nothing. No one to come help him. He's a face. At least other face wrestlers should come help him get the beat down, or come help him away from the beatdown. It is what it is. We'll see. Clearly, Swerve and Christian at Double or Nothing should be amazing. Double or Nothing is building up to be a good show here. I'm excited for that match. I'm assuming Swerve is going to win, and this will be, a big win in his title reign. I can't imagine he's losing that title yet to Christian. At some point, I wouldn't mind seeing Christian with that title. I mean, he was doing amazing work with the TBS title, so I would love to see him with the AEW World title. TNT television title, I think it is. I apologize. Yes, the TNT title. Not the TBS title, that's the women's title, sorry. The TBS title. He did great things with that, and he elevated that title. In some respects, maybe to be more exciting than the AEW World title, just because of how good Christian is. As a result, I'm interested to see what ends up happening here. That Double or Nothing should be an amazing match. We then got a recap of Adam Copeland's ongoing feud with the House of Black, and how through the I believe that my sorry, I believe my microphone might have died. We get the TBS. We got a recap of Adam Copeland going on with the House of Black. He issued the cope open. The House of Black answered. They said one of them will respond to the challenge. And of course, this week we got Buddy Matthews versus Adam Copeland in a solid match that went way too long. It ended up going 21 minutes and 3 seconds. It could have gone 12 minutes and it would have been fine. There's nothing wrong with this match. It is what it is. You knew Adam Copeland was going to win here. Buddy Matthews, is a solid wrestler. Obviously, we know Adam Copeland is. Buddy Matthews has been solid for a long time. I really like Buddy. He's my favorite, honestly, in the House of Black, but he also gets the least amount of notoriety. I think obviously Malachi being the leader and I guess the big name of the bunch, and then Brody King being the second biggest, for all intents and purposes in the pecking order of House of Black, and then there's Buddy. So Buddy takes this match here and takes the loss in what was a solid match. Again, took too long, but it's okay. I guess we'll ultimately see. I guess we're gonna get Malachi. My guess is we're gonna get Malachi Black and Adam Copeland at some point here for that TNT title. Next, we get Samoa Joe and Isaiah Cassidy, in which is essentially a squash match. Joe does his great look away when they come off the springboard, or when a guy does a move, and Joe just kind of looks away. Um, that's always fun. Joe squashes Isaiah Cassidy. I feel bad for Isaiah Cassidy. He's always kind of been Private Party, never really got over as much as they should have, or got the push they should have as a tag team. And Isaiah Cassidy was in that Matt Hardy office vortex for a long time, where they both were, but then Quinn was hurt, and then Isaiah Cassidy was in that, and then the Ethan Page stuff, which was some of it was good, most of it was bad, and now he's taking pins from Samoa Joe within 3 minutes. So and usually on Rampage, very little on Collision, and almost never on Dynamite. So I feel a little bad for Isaiah Cassidy, but it is what it is. Sorry, I didn't even get these moved along here. I apologize. Then we had a Sky Blue promotion wants a shot at the TBS title on Rampagne later. So we'll talk about that when we get to it. Then we got Orange Cassidy in the ring. Orange Cassidy wants to unite best. He said he wanted to unite best friends, but then after being told that Chuck Taylor will never wrestle again, he doesn't care. He doesn't want anything to do with Trent anymore. Uh, Trent comes out. Orange Cassidy comes to meet him on the ramp. They kind of hold security, holds them apart. Ultimately, Don Callis leaves with Cassidy, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I don't think Orange Cassidy's going to join the Callis family. That doesn't seem right. If anything, it seems like Trent would join the Callis family, but ultimately, I guess we'll have to see how this plays out. I I love Trent Beretta. Trent Beretta is a great wrestler. I've been frustrated with him being stuck with Chucky T for a long time. I don't like best friends. I didn't think that was the right fit for Trent, so I'm happy to see him get away from Trent from Chucky T and Orange Cassidy and best friends. But I'm also not really here for Orange Cassidy Trent Beretta feud, which I guess is what we have to have, or at least matches, because he left them and fucked them over. So and hurt Chucky. So I guess we have to get a match between them. That doesn't really interest me all that much. I kind of just want you to go their own separate ways, and Trent would do whatever Trent's going to do. Move on to a title picture, as a singles wrestler. That would be awesome. The Bucks have had too much time, so they're going to pass it over to Jack Perry. Jack Perry talks about how Tony Khan made him the scapegoat, and now we're in a new generation under the Elite, and times are changing. We have an FTW title shot: Chris Jericho versus Shibata. Chris Jericho getting the win here. in a match that probably never had to happen. I'm not a big fan of the FTW title. I think it had its, I think it was okay when Taz did it years ago. It was his own thing. It's an unsanctioned title, so why are we having title shots for it? Why is it switching hands ever? It should have just been hooked in perpetuity because it was his dad's. It should have never been actually on the line. Um, I in a vacuum, I suppose this match is okay for a guy that's 56 in Chris Jericho and, well, was expected to never wrestle again in Shibata. I'm a huge Shibata fan. I don't really like Chris Jericho. I mean, I like him more now than I ever did, but I still don't like him. I don't like him as a person at all. But this was, okay, I guess. I didn't, they did it, so it is what it is, but I didn't really need it. Jericho got the win over Shibata, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't know why Shibata is taking losses to Jericho. That doesn't make any sense to me. Um, ultimately, I guess it's, Big Bill was the came and put Shibata through the table and Jericho got the pin without really having to do anything. So saying that Jericho got the win here is not really fair because he didn't really beat Shibata. I guess it was Big Bill with the choke slam through the table that ultimately beat Shibata. I still don't like it. I guess it makes sense because now we can have Big Bill versus Shibata, which I find more interesting than Jericho versus Shibata. At least the contrast in styles. Big Bill's younger, has a lot of upside. Jericho, we know what he is. Um, so I guess I'm here for that. I still don't like Jericho or the Learning Tree faction getting the win over Shibata. We've got Chris Statlander backstage apologizing to Willow for the Mercedes interrupting her celebration last week. Willow's not too upset with it. They're ready to take out Sky Blue tonight. Stokely's not happy about the Young Bucks who have banned him and Statlander from ringside during the title shot tonight on Rampage. We next had Brian Cage versus Claudio and two big men slapping meat. This is what you expected to be between two guys that can move really good, hit hard, um, lots of good action. I don't know that it definitely wasn't a great match. It was a solid, okay match. It could probably be on Rampage or Collision. I don't know that it needs a dynamite spot, but Claudio gets to win. BCC's over big time, so they get the win here. Rocky Romero talks about how he's not siding with anyone in the best friends drama because no one wins. He's doing his own thing, and he wants a title shot at the TNT title. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Then we get Mariah May versus Serena Deeb. Tony Storm and Luther are out here with May. May and Deeb have a really good match. Deeb is such a solid wrestler. I'm so glad she's back. Um, Tony Storm ultimately throws in the towel to save May because Deeb is working underneath. She doesn't want Mariah May's knee to get destroyed. That's a story they're telling. It is what it is. Um, I you know I really like Mariah May. I really like Serena Deeb. I think I'm a little higher on Serena Deeb than I am on Mariah May just because Deeb is such a great wrestler. Um, And the basic fallout from this ultimately is that Deeb is going to get a title shot against Tony Storm at Double or Nothing. I kind of hope Serena Deeb wins. Tony Storm's had this title now for a while. It wouldn't hurt her to lose it yet. It's not like it would be a short range or she would be a transitional champion. She's had the belt now for a while. Like people keep saying they're treading water until Jimmy Hayter comes back. I don't like that. There's plenty of other women that have quality that are high quality enough to be champion, i.e. Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb, and there's others on this roster. So I kind of hope Serena Deeb wins at Double or Nothing. Let's see. Then we have Adam Copeland again backstage. He's shook up by the House of Black. Kyle O'Reilly shows up and says he's got Copeland's back if he ever needs it. Copeland appreciates the offer and then tells Kyle O'Reilly that his eyes are up here because O'Reilly's eyes are looking at his TNT title. Eyes up here. So, and one of the probably the best line of the whole show, honestly. Yeah, I'm in for Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Copeland. Ultimately, that would be fine. I wouldn't mind Kyle O'Reilly taking that TNT title from him. I wouldn't mind seeing Kyle O'Reilly with the TNT title. Then we are here for the main event segment of Dynamite. Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot longer than I should have. We've got Kenny Omega in the ring. He is talking about illnesses and injuries. Last year was diagnosed with diverticulitis. He doesn't want to go into the gory details. He's not really back. He didn't want to. If he had the surgery, he was going to have a colostomy bag. If not, several months, if not for the rest of our life. Um, let's see. Then he decided not to retire, and that there were things that he do in the ring, and that he brings up the Young Bucks and says that they were EVPs, but so is he, and that he has part of the power, and that he is going to use some of that power. Then we get Okada. Okada comes out, Omega greets him in Japanese and offers him to run it back one more time. Okada versus Omega again. It looks like we're going to ultimately get that, even though Okada denies it here and says he's the best bout machine now. Jack Perry comes in, jumps Omega from behind. They grab a chair, but Omega fights back. Ultimately, the the Young Bucks come out to hit the EVP trigger on Omega, and then FTR runs out for the save to save Omega. And the last scene we get is, well, not technically the last scene, because then ultimately it switched to Rampage because there was a live Rampage afterwards. So technically this actually went over. But what we saw at the very beginning of Rampage, the end technically of Dynamite, was the FTR and the beat up Omega in the ring with the Bucks and Jack Perry and Okada on the ramp, kind of backing up the ramp. So that brought us into Rampage. So let's see. After that, we had Jay White versus Dante Martin in a match that I don't understand what we're doing. I guess the talking heads say that this is still playing off the gauntlet match from last week, or the gauntlet match that they did. But I don't understand what they're doing with Jay White. Jay White relegated to Rampage to wrestle Dante Martin. I mean, it's an okay match, but what's going on here? Then we had Deanna Purrazzo is sick of the lack of respect around here. Now she's starting to feel like herself, though, and if Thunder Rosa wants to make it personal, that works for her too. So it sounds like we might get Deanna Purrazzo versus Thunder Rosa, which I'm here for. That definitely interests me. Roosh is bragging about his success and wants respect on his name. Big Bill believes he has everything to reach the top, but he needs Chris Jericho's guidance. Jericho comes in and is happy to have retained the FTW champion, the For the World Championship, which pisses Taz off because it's not what it's for. It was never called the For the World. It wasn't for that soft shit, as Taz puts it. And that Jericho says he's willing to let Big Bill into the Jericho vortex. We have a promo of a video package of Christian Cage being named the #1 contender. Swerve Strickland is ready to remind Cage who he is. They will talk next week, and Swerve won't be alone this time. Then we have Rocky Romero versus Kyle O'Reilly. Solid match. O'Reilly gets the pin with the roll up. 10 minutes. I don't know that it needed 10 minutes. I'm probably going to go on 7 minutes. This is another one of those times for Rocky Romero. Not a job, but a good hand. Takes a loss in a good match. Here to make Kyle O'Reilly look good. Kyle O'Reilly is getting over here. Kyle O'Reilly is ultimately going to have his match with Roderick Strong at Double or Nothing. And I think that that's going to be fun. I think Kyle O'Reilly could win that title too. So I'm here for that in the meantime, and ultimately Kyle O'Reilly, being AEW champion at some point would be awesome. I'm a huge Kyle O'Reilly fan, in case you didn't notice from those comments. So let's see. Then we had Saraya and Harley Cameron are happy with Mariah May after losing earlier. Cameron will fight Toni Storm herself on Dynamite next week. So we'll get Harley Cameron versus Toni Storm next week on Dynamite. And then we had the Undisputed Kingdom talking about the lack of respect for Next Strong, Roderick Strong. Oh, I apologize. Not Kyle O'Reilly. Roderick Strong is wrestling Will Ospreay at Double or Nothing. I apologize. We will get Kyle O'Reilly versus Roderick Strong at some point. Roderick Strong promises to take out Will Ospreay at Double or Nothing. That match should be amazing. Obviously, Will Ospreay is winning that match, taking that title from Roderick Strong. Kyle O'Reilly will get a shot at it down the road. Maybe he'll beat Will Ospreay at some point. But either way, once Will Ospreay has a title, we got to get O'Reilly versus Strong. They've got to finish that up. O'Reilly has receipts that he needs to cash in on Strong. So then we had the main event of the live Rampage, Sky Blue versus Willow. Willow retains her title. This is okay. I didn't have much to say about it. It went about 10 minutes and 43 seconds. This was a hardcore match. It was fun if you like hardcore matches. I'm not totally sure why we're having a hardcore match here. I guess it's because these guys have been going round and round even before the title. This has been an ongoing feud. So I guess this is supposed to kind of wrap it up a little bit, put a little bow on it, I suppose. I don't think we need to see Sky Blue versus Willow again. Especially not for the TBS title. We'll need to move on and do something else with it. Preferably not just lose it to Mercedes Moné at whenever they're going to do that at Double or Nothing. So we shall see. It was an okay Rampage. I know that a lot of people tuned out after Dynamite. I'm not totally sure why. I guess it was because maybe the Dynamite card didn't look very exciting, or that Rampage card didn't look very exciting. Maybe it's 3 hours. It's too long. I'm not totally sure. I was a little surprised. Usually Rampage Live does better. So that's this week's Dynamite and Rampage. There will be no Rampage watch along on Friday night because there is no Rampage because it was on tonight. So around last night, I apologize, after Dynamite. And there's no Collision this week, so no Collision watch along due to NBA playoffs. So again, thank you for joining us here on Workhorse Wrestling Network. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, hit the like on this video. We appreciate you tuning in with us and being here with me for our Aftermath of Dynamite short review. I know 22 minutes is way too long. I got to figure out how to get this a little shorter, talk a little less. I ramble a little too much, and also be a little more precise with my information too. Sorry about that. Every once in a while, I know I'm a little off base, but I always bring it back. So as we always say here, come for the wrestling, stay for the chaos. Thank you so much, as always. I'll put up our little schedule here. We have Seeing Stars on Monday mornings. Dolores and J News talk about New Japan and other up-and-coming promotions and stars. On Tuesday night, we have the live cookout, 7:30 p.m. Join us for 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. Join us for that. It's always fun. That's live. Wednesdays, you will get the All for Naught wrap-ups of Monday Night Raw and NXT, 2 separate short shows. On Thursday, you'll get the AEW Aftermath of Dynamite weekly wrap-up show, short pre-recorded show. On Friday night, you get Friday Night Fights, where we watch SmackDown and usually Rampage or whatever else is going on. We might do Under Siege with SmackDown this week, not totally sure, but at minimum, they will be watching SmackDown starting at 5 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. Then on Saturday, you will get Under the Radars short reviews of TNA, Ring of Honor, MLW if it's around, BT if it's around. Then Saturday night, we're back for Collision. Not this Saturday night because it's not. There is no Collision, but on general Saturday nights, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern for our live Collision watch along. And then join us Sundays as myself and Sammy Joe duke it out on WWE 2K23 and moving into WWE 2K24 and enter the square circle. So thank you very much for your time here. And until next time.